Language Foundations Vocabulary Flashcards, helping you achieve understanding.
Not taken up by scheduled activities. A free hour between classes. Part with a possession or right. Not fixed in position. He pulled his arm free and ran. Relieve from. Free or remove obstruction from. Free a path across the cluttered floor. Remove or force out from a position. He finally could free the legs of the earthquake victim who was buried in the rubble. Grant freedom to. Free from confinement. Make assets available. Release gas or energy as a result of a chemical reaction or physical decomposition. Free from obligations or duties. Make information available for publication. Completely wanting or lacking. People who are free. The home of the free and the brave. Not literal. A free translation of the poem. Without restraint. Costing nothing. Free admission. Grant relief or an exemption from a rule or requirement to. Let off the hook. Not held in servitude. After the Civil War he was a free man. Not limited or hampered, not under compulsion or restraint. Free enterprise. Not occupied or in use. A free locker. Unconstrained or not chemically bound in a molecule or not fixed and capable of relatively unrestricted motion. Free expansion. Not taken up by scheduled activities. Spare time on my hands. Thin and fit. The spare figure of a marathon runner. Refrain from harming. Lacking embellishment or ornamentation. An extra car wheel and tire for a four-wheel vehicle. Give up what is not strictly needed. He asked if they could spare one of their horses to speed his journey. More than is needed, desired, or required. Sleeping in the spare room. An extra component of a machine or other apparatus. Lacking in magnitude or quantity. A spare diet. A score in 10 pins, knocking down all 10 after rolling 2 balls. Kept in reserve especially for emergency use. A spare tire. Save or relieve from an experience or action. I'll spare you from having to apologize formally. Use frugally or carefully. Leave a job, post, or position voluntarily. Part with a possession or right. Put an end to a state or an activity. Give up in the face of defeat of lacking hope. Admit defeat. Give up or agree to forego to the power or possession of another. Stop consuming. Give up alcohol. Stop maintaining or insisting on, of ideas or claims. Both sides have to give up some claims in these negotiations. Allow the other, baseball team to score. Give up a run. Give up with the intent of never claiming again. Relinquish possession or control over. Give up what is not strictly needed. Lose, s.th. or lose the right to s.th by some error, offense, or crime. Part with a possession or right. Let something fall or spill from a container. Music, the act or manner of terminating a musical phrase or tone. A device that when pressed will release part of a mechanism. Activity that frees or expresses creative energy or emotion. The act of liberating someone or something. Grant freedom to, free from confinement. Make assets available. Release the holdings in the dictator's bank account. Release, as from one's grip. Release, gas or energy, as a result of a chemical reaction or physical decomposition. A legal document evidencing the discharge of a debt or obligation. The act of allowing a fluid to escape. Prepare an issue for public distribution or sale. Eliminate a substance. The plant releases a gas. The termination of someone's employment, leaving them free to depart. Make information available for publication. Release the list with the names of the prisoners. An announcement distributed to members of the press in order to supplement or replace an oral presentation. Euphemistic expressions for death. Generate and separate from cells or bodily fluids. Release a hormone into the bloodstream. A formal written statement of relinquishment. A process that liberates or discharges something. There was a sudden release of oxygen. Merchandise issued for sale or public showing, especially a record or film. A new release from the London Symphony Orchestra. Part with a possession or right. I am relinquishing my bedroom to the long-term house guest. Do without or cease to hold or adhere to. Relinquish the old ideas. Release, as from one's grip. Relinquish your grip on the rope, you won't fall. Turn away from, give up. Leave a job, post, or position voluntarily. The chairman resigned when he was found to have misappropriated funds. Part with a possession or right. Resign a claim to the throne. Give up or retire from a position. The chairman resigned over the financial scandal. Accept as inevitable. He resigned himself to his fate. Not fixed in position. The detached shutter fell on him. Being or feeling set or kept apart from others. She felt detached from the group. No longer connected or joined. A detached part. Lacking affection or warm feeling. Showing lack of emotional involvement. She may be detached or even unfeeling, but at least she's not hypocritically effusive. Used a buildings, standing apart from others. Detached houses. Relieve from. Relieve from. Free or remove obstruction from. Release from something that holds fast, connects, or entangles. I want to disengage myself from his influence. Become free. In neutral, the gears disengage. Remove or force out from a position. The dentist dislodged the piece of food that had been stuck under my gums. Change place or direction. remove or force from a position of dwelling previously occupied. The new employee dislodged her by moving into her office space. Grant freedom to. The students liberated their slaves upon graduating from the university. Grant freedom to. Free from confinement. Release, gas or energy, as a result of a chemical reaction or physical decomposition. Give equal rights to. Of women and minorities. Of textures, full of small openings or gaps. A loose weave. Make loose or looser. Loosen the tension on a rope. Having escaped, especially from confinement. Dogs loose on the streets. Emptying easily or excessively. Loose bowels. Grant freedom to. Free from confinement. Turn loose or free from restraint. Let loose minds. Not affixed. The stamp came loose. Not literal. A loose interpretation of what she had been told. Casual and unrestrained in sexual behavior. He was told to avoid loose, or light, women. Not tense or taut. The old man's skin hung loose and gray. Without restraint. Cows in India are running loose. Become loose or looser or less tight. The noose loosened. Lacking a sense of restraint or responsibility. A loose tongue. Not officially recognized or controlled. A loose organization of the local farmers. Not carefully arranged in a package. A box of loose nails. Not compact or dense in structure or arrangement. Loose gravel. Not tight, not closely constrained or constricted or constricting. Loose clothing. Of a ball in sport, not in the possession or control of any player. A loose ball. Grant freedom to. Free from confinement. Loosen the ties of. Unloose your sneakers. Grant freedom to. Free from confinement. Loosen the ties of. Make assets available. Clear or remove an obstruction from. The procedure unblocked his arteries. Play the cards of a suit, so that the last trick on which a hand can follow suit will be taken by a higher card in the hand of a partner who has the remaining cards of a combined holding. Make assets available. Become or cause to become soft or liquid. Remove, cargo, people, etc., from and leave. Electrical conduction through a gas in an applied electric field. Free from obligations or duties. Go off or discharge. Eliminate a substance. The termination of someone's employment, leaving them free to depart. Pronounce not guilty of criminal charges. Cause to go off. Release from military service. A substance that is emitted or released. Any of several bodily processes by which substances go out of the body. The discharge of pus. The act of discharging a gun. The act of venting. The pouring forth of a fluid. Become empty or void of its content. A formal written statement of relinquishment. Complete or carry out. Discharge one's duties. Pour forth or release. Discharge liquids. Remove the charge from. The sudden giving off of energy. Providing no shelter or sustenance. Barren lands. Completely wanting or lacking. Riding barren of insight. An uninhabited wilderness that is worthless for cultivation. The barrens of Central Africa. Not bearing offspring. A barren woman. Poor enough to need help from others. Completely wanting or lacking. Young recruits destitute of experience. Completely wanting or lacking. The sentence was devoid of meaning. Not knowledgeable about something specified. American tourists wholly innocent of French. Lacking in sophistication or worldliness. A child's innocent stare. Completely wanting or lacking. Innocent of literary merit. A person who lacks knowledge of evil. Free from evil or guilt. An innocent child. Free from sin. Lacking intent or capacity to injure. An innocent prank. Used of things, lacking sense or awareness. Fine innocent weather. People who are free. Given or giving freely. A liberal backer of the arts. A person who favors a political philosophy of progress and reform and the protection of civil liberties. Showing or characterized by broad-mindedness. A liberal newspaper. Not literal. A person who favors an economic theory of laissez-faire and self-regulating markets. Having political or social views favoring reform and progress. Tolerant of change, not bound by authoritarianism, orthodoxy, or tradition. Costing nothing. Complimentary tickets. Conveying or resembling a compliment. A complimentary remark. Costing nothing. Without payment. I'll give you this gratis. Costing nothing. Unnecessary and unwarranted. Costing nothing. Without cause. A gratuitous insult. Grant relief or an exemption from a rule or requirement to. She exempted me from the exam. Of goods or funds, not subject to taxation. Income exempt from taxation. Grant exemption or release to. Of persons, freed from or not subject to an obligation or liability, as e.g. taxes, to which others or other things are subject. A beauty somehow exempt from the aging process. Provide relief for. Free someone temporarily from his or her obligations. Lessen the intensity of or calm. Relieve oneself of troubling information. Provide physical relief, as from pain. This pill will relieve your headaches. Save from ruin, destruction, or harm. Grant relief or an exemption from a rule or requirement to. Alleviate or remove, pressure or stress, or make less oppressive. Relieve the pressure and the stress. Grant exemption or release to. Free from a burden, evil, or distress. Take by stealing. The thief relieved me of $100. Grant remission of a sin to. The priest absolved him and told him to say 10 Hail Marys. Let off the hook. I absolve you from this responsibility.
Become our student and get access to effective and free educational materials. Subscribe to our YouTube channel to become a part of our growing YouTube community and to learn English effectively.